all morning. Trial attorney out of Gilbert, Arizona, and there's a lot of different aspects to this trial. The one thing that stands out is the guy led them to the body. This doesn't seem like a very winnable case, but could be wrong. Right now, the defense tactic seems to be going after the fact that he wasn't read his entire Miranda rights at the proper time. They were successful in getting some of his confession thrown out, but the judge said you could still bring in the fact that this individual led you to the body after this exhaustive search. What's your take on this case and its winnability, if you will, from the defense perspective?
Well, from the defense perspective, I think they have a large uphill battle. Now, obviously, the Miranda rights is an issue, and the judge ruled that some of the statements made by Rivera are going to come in. So that's an appealable issue right there. And Rivera's defense team most likely has that already planned. I'm sure they have a couple other ones already that they might be looking at, that if they don't get the result they want, that they'll file an appeal. I think the bigger question, though, about the Miranda rights and also his status as an immigrant could come in. He's wearing headphones throughout the trial. That will tell jurors that English isn't his first language, or they're going to make the assumption at least that English isn't his first language. And so we will see how that plays out. But I do believe the defense has a large uphill battle. The fact that the judge let in statements made by Rivera leading them right to Tibbets' body, that is very damning. I do not know how they get out from underneath that during the trial. I think that is going to be a large nail in the coffin in Rivera's case. Without that,
yeah, there's these other suspects that are somewhat compelling. You could use them at trial that, they got the wrong one. It's one of these other four. But with him leading them to the body, it seems insurmountable. The other issue that is going to be taking place over the next couple days is the jury selection process. First of all, high-profile case. People are opinionated. This beautiful young girl ends up dead. There is anger built into the jury pool just out of the gate because of what the state went through looking for this young woman for weeks and weeks. People volunteering, and it was just a horrible, horrible exercise that this group of potential jurors went through. Then you bring in the illegal immigration aspect of it all. President Donald Trump at some point used this case as an example to tighten up immigration. So you have a political bent tier two, people who could, just have a feeling of that they do not like, these types of people coming into our country, which there's a segment of our population, let's face it, that has this. How do you root them out during the jury selection process if you're representing Mr. Rivera?
Yeah, it's tough, but the question that you have to ask during the jury selection process is, does any juror have an opinion or a belief about illegal immigrants and or immigrants in general that would cloud his or her judgment to the point that they would be unable to give Rivera a fair trial? If any juror answers that question, that they do have an opinion that they would hold against Rivera and they would not be able to be unbiased in listening to the evidence, then as a matter of law, the judge is going to have to kick those jurors out. Now, the reason I say it the way I do is maybe some people aren't as vocal about their negative opinion about immigrants as others. And we do have that at times in picking jurors. Now, I'm not saying a juror lies about something, but I think there are times where jurors don't believe their opinion or their belief rises to the level that a judge or a courtroom would have an issue with it. And so they remain quiet. Now, if that happens in this case, then that obviously works against Rivera. Rivera needs everybody on that juror to be open-minded and to not hold any negative views about immigration. And most likely, if you're on Rivera's defense team, you probably don't want people that voted for Trump. Now, I know that's a very large blanket statement, and I don't mean it in a negative way, other than when you pick jurors, you look for certain telltale signs, you look for stereotypes, because it's really all we have. You have the ability or I should say, you're left with the ability to judge a book by its cover. And so in the outside world, that's not popular, but when you're picking jurors, you kind of have to pick some big block sort of statements to guide people by, because you're not going to be able to get into the intimacy of their life. So someone who voted for Trump probably has a negative view on immigration. If they have a negative view on immigration and your defendant is an immigrant and or an illegal immigrant, then you don't want those people on your jurors. Now, that might be hard for some people to hear, but when you're a trial juror, it's your job to make sure that your client gets a fair and unbiased trial. And to do that, you've got to ask these questions and you have to get into these opinions. Now, I don't believe his immigrant status is relevant at all to whether he committed these murders. So whether it comes in at trial or not is a question for another day. I don't believe it's going to come in, but I do believe it is something that has to be dealt with on voir dire, meaning you don't want to come right out and say, hey, he's an immigrant, but you got to ask those questions. And when you ask those questions, obviously 1 + 1 = 2. Jurors are going to realize that it's likely he's an immigrant. So you have to try the case in a manner that you already believe jurors believe he's an immigrant, and possibly some of those jurors having a negative opinion. That does make your job a little bit harder if you're on the defense side.
Yeah, absolutely. And those earphones as well that he's going to be wearing, obviously for translation purposes. So it's going to be a factor at trial and possibly even during jury selection. And possibly it could be an appealable issue too, depending on the makeup of the jury and things that come out of it. The other part of it, which we already touched on a bit, is that high-profile nature, that shared experience that jury pool felt going through what happened to young Mollie Tibbets. All right, coming up, we have a very good idea